So, what if you could get solar power but skip the most expensive part? We're talking about running a solar inverter directly from the panels with no battery in sight. It's a super tempting shortcut for sure, but today we're going to find out if this is a brilliant money-saving hack or just a total disaster waiting to happen.
And that really is the central question, isn't it? On one hand, you could save a whole lot of cash, but on the other, you could be putting your entire system at risk. So are we looking at a smart way to get into solar on the cheap? Or is this just a recipe for fried electronics and a massive headache? Let's dive in and see what the experiment shows.
I mean, let's be real. The appeal here is pretty obvious. Those battery banks, that's usually the part of a solar setup that hits the wallet the hardest. So the idea of getting all that clean, free energy from the sun without that huge upfront cost, well, it's incredibly tempting. But you have to wonder, is it just too good to be true? Okay, so how would you even do this? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and walk through the actual experiment. The setup itself is surprisingly simple, but as we're about to find out, every single detail really matters. All right, first, a real quick but super important concept, parallel connection. All this means is you're hooking the positive wire from one panel to the positive on the other and negative to negative. The reason this is so important is that it boosts the current. Think of that as the amount of power flowing, while keeping the voltage the same. And keeping that voltage in the right range is absolutely crucial for the inverter.
So here's the play-by-play. You take two 150-watt solar panels, you wire them up in parallel, just like we talked about, and then, and this is the key part, you connect them straight to the inverter's battery terminals. Yep, the exact same spot where you'd normally hook up a battery. Notice what's missing? No battery. And just as important, no charge controller to manage the flow of power. It's a direct, unregulated line from the sun right to the inverter. And for all you tech spec folks, here are the numbers for this specific setup. With those two panels in parallel, the system's kicking out around 18 to 19 volts and a short circuit current of about 14 amps. These are the raw, unfiltered numbers that the inverter is going to have to deal with.
All right, the panels are wired, the sun is shining, everything's connected. This is it, the moment of truth.
This is the big make or break moment, right? Can an inverter, a piece of equipment that's designed to get a nice, smooth, steady supply of power from a battery, can it really handle the wild, fluctuating energy coming straight from the sun?
And the answer is yes. Believe it or not, it actually works. In the experiment, the inverter fired right up and had no problem powering an energy-saver light bulb. So from a purely technical standpoint, it is possible. You can make the connection.
And we're not just talking about a little bulb either. If you have enough strong, direct sunlight, this battery-free setup could theoretically run some bigger stuff, like a pedestal fan or maybe even a ceiling fan.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? That initial success is not the whole story. Not even close. Because this is the exact point where our brilliant little hack starts to look a whole lot more like a really risky gamble.
I mean, the real world isn't some perfect laboratory, you know? The sun isn't always blazing, clouds roll by, the sun moves across the sky. So what happens to our fragile little setup when that sunlight isn't perfectly consistent?
Well, here's the fundamental difference. Think of a battery like a giant shock absorber for your power. It takes all the bumpy peaks and valleys of solar energy and smooths it out into one steady, reliable stream. Without it, your inverter is exposed to every single flicker, every dip, every surge. You're basically trading stability for chaos. And this number, this is the whole problem right here. Most inverters have a built-in safety feature, a low voltage cutoff, usually set around 10.5 volts. The second a cloud passes overhead and the voltage from the panels dips below that number, click, the inverter shuts down instantly to protect itself. And this is where things get really bad. It creates this vicious cycle. The voltage is all over the place, so the system is constantly shutting down and then trying to restart every single time a cloud floats by. This jarring on-off cycle puts an incredible amount of stress on all the sensitive electronics inside the inverter, and that can, and likely will, lead to permanent damage. Our source material has the perfect analogy for this. It says running an inverter this way is like trying to ride a bicycle that only moves when the wind is blowing. Yeah, you might lurch forward when you get a strong gust, but you're going to come to a sudden, jarring stop the moment it dies down. That just captures the whole frustrating and damaging nature of this setup perfectly. So we've seen that it's technically possible, but man, is it also incredibly risky.
Where does that leave us? Let's pull this all together and give a final verdict on this solar shortcut.
And the final verdict is crystal clear. This is an emergency workaround, and only an emergency workaround. If you're in a really bad spot, maybe a prolonged power outage, and you have no other choice, sure, it might give you a little bit of power in a pinch. But as a long-term, day-to-day solution, no way. It's just not safe or sustainable.
Look, if you want a solar power system that's safe, that's reliable, and that won't destroy itself, you need the whole package. You need all 4 key ingredients: the solar panels to make the power, a charge controller to manage it, a battery to store it and smooth it out, and the inverter to convert it. When it comes to this stuff, there are no shortcuts.
And that brings us right back to our big question, but maybe with a bit of a new perspective. We started this whole explainer asking if we could save some money by skipping the battery. But now, after seeing all the risks, the real question is this. When you factor in the very real possibility of frying your expensive inverter, is a shortcut like this ever really worth the cost?